Very good. Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Rose, the Director of Customer Success at RapidSOS. So glad you guys can spend part of your day here at Ready23. Ready23 is hosted by RapidSOS. If you're not familiar, RapidSOS is an intelligent safety platform that securely links life-saving data to monitoring centers, 911, and first responders in emergencies. At Ready23, we aim to foster a sense of unity, shared purpose among all stakeholders in the emergency response ecosystem. And Ready23 gives us an opportunity to connect, collaborate, catalyze change in the world of public safety and emergency responses, encouraging everyone to actively engage in the virtual event platform and participate in the event. Today, we're fortunate to be joined by a panel of experts from both business and public safety sectors, including Craig Swallow, Chief Executive Officer of Vismo, Jonna Gonzalez-Sells, Regional Communications Coordinator, 911 Coordinator, Franklin County Emergency Management and Home Security, Columbus, Ohio, Lieutenant Alan Harushko, Police Lieutenant, the Ohio State University, Alexis Bolt, Communication Supervisor, Communications and Security Technology Department of Public Safety, The Ohio State University. Panelists, welcome. We'll do a quick intro for each of you and shed some light on why you're here to talk about emergency response. Craig, start with you.
Yeah, hi. Hi, good morning, Jim, and everyone else. I'm Craig. I'm with a business called Vismo, and we are providers of solutions that help locate and protect lone working employees. That's what we do. I'm here today to talk about emergency response, really because we have got more and more of our US-based clients asking to better support their remote or mobile working staff. Clearly, it was a trend that was happening before the pandemic, but clearly it was accelerated further during the pandemic and subsequently then thereafter. So that's why I'm here, and I'm kind of looking at this, as I always have done, from three different perspectives. From the employer's perspective, the employee's perspective, so that's the lone worker themselves, and then also from the 911 or the emergency responders perspective as well.
Let's move on to Jonna.
Hi, as stated before, my name is Jonna Gonzalez-Sells. I am the Regional Communications Coordinator here with Franklin County, Ohio. So that's Columbus, big area. We are sitting at about 1.4 million people now. So we are a big city and we operate as such, and our county and surrounding areas are my responsibility as far as communications goes. So I have very much a vested interest in making sure that communications is kept to the forefront, not only as far as telecommunicators go, but also as far as our first line responders. We also want to make sure that our telecommunicators are getting the more advanced training that's going to be necessary as we're adding these visual components into a traditionally auditory field. So that's why I'm here.
Very good. Let's go to Lieutenant Harushko.
Hi. Yeah, I was invited partly because I'm the field user of a lot of these technologies. I also blame Jonna. So we've had the privilege of working together for many years now, before she left us. But it's always been a good ongoing relationship that's fostered a lot of different teamwork between our communication center and the variety of technology that we employ at OSU, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a bit.
Awesome. On to Alexis Bolt.
Hi there, everybody. Yeah, Alexis Bolt. I'm one of the frontline communication supervisors with OSU Public Safety. With the Ohio State universities, we do the main campus and the regional campuses. So it is one of the largest universities in the country. So we get a lot of technology sent our way, and we use it on the daily basis for all of our campuses. So really happy to be here and answer any of the questions you guys have.
Right. Appreciate everybody being here. And as you may know, our discussion is centered around enabling protection and safety for lone working or remote employees, with trends in remote work here to stay. Leading organizations are turning to digital safety features to provide workers with peace of mind, no matter where they are. Craig, start with a question to you. Just elaborate on how safety fits into your company's mission and why it's a priority in today's world.
Sure, yes. Well, Vismo's mission is to help employers to locate and protect their staff, their volunteers, their contractors, when they typically are not within eyesight. So we're talking here about home workers, people who are based in the community, all the way out to globally traveling staff in some cases. It's been a priority and is a growing priority for many employers for quite a number of reasons. And in my experience, different clients put those reasons into different orders. Some might be more prevalent than others, but the legislative requirement on employers to ensure all employees are operating in a safe environment exists, obviously, and is growing. That legislation. OSHA's legislation has been supported now more and more by state level legislation in certain industries that puts further responsibilities on employers of community or mobile based staff, as well as those based in offices and factories and other site locations. But if it's not legislation, it's often perhaps because the employer has a strong moral compass. It helps with employee engagement and recruitment and retention. Sometimes it's reputational brand damage or the risk of that drives the employer's interest in this. It might be because their insurers have suggested that they need to better protect their staff when they're out in the field. So that's why safety kind of fits into what we do and into the world today, really.
Great. Let's ask a question for Jonah. Can you describe how collaboration between public safety and private partners is transforming emergency response?
Sure. So I serve as the immediate past president for APCO Ohio. I'm also a very involved NENA member. So we've talked to our members about staying engaged with our private vendors and our vendor public-private relationships as being so important because we know that good things come out of that communication. When the private entities know what we need to actually do our job well and what we expect out of them, then it only produces a better product and it gives us what we need to keep not only our community safe, but our frontline responders safe as well. So I know normally telecommunicators don't get out as much. They don't get to have the experience meeting with vendors, but as we start fostering those relationships or encouraging them to communicate and keep up and push what they need, it only helps us to grow. It only helps us to get better solutions and fosters better relationships moving forward. So it's a very healthy, very good relationship that we need to maintain and that we need to, keep going with all our telecommunicators and with our private partners. So we all benefit. It's just a little bit of a hiccup sometimes to get that relationship going.
And Lieutenant Harushko, how does the availability of more data help you respond more effectively to emergencies?
For us, it's a very multi-layered response. We are not a traditional police department, suburb or even big city where we are responsible for more than 700 buildings on campus. Most of our buildings come equipped with cameras. They come with alarms. They come with, and that can be from hold up alarms to panic buttons to fire alarms to glass break. But our communication center helps relay all that information to us. So knowing what our officers are going into ahead of time gives them a proper idea on how to react in the safest manner for themselves as well as the community. On top of that, we have the camera tools alone are a fantastic way, probably similar to what's more overseas in England, London traditionally, with that kind of extra surveillance is really a huge asset to us. So we can, watch dangerous situations unfold or suspicious activity. And again, coordinating our response even faster. And then the final layer to that is that our response times are so well tracked that we can isolate not only like hotspots for crime, but maybe areas that are difficult for our officers to get to because of construction blockages, or maybe different pedestrian traffic is huge on campus. So these are things that we're all able to take back and really analyze and better place our officers for responses.
And Alexis, how important does communications factor into responding to incidents or emergencies?
I mean, it's the entire thing. The entire first act of any incident is speaking to a guy like myself. We consider ourselves first responders. I know that's cringe to a lot of people outside that actually go to these things, but I'm there with you on the scene, and I need to know effectively. My job is to prioritize the situation and get the resources and equipment to you, whatever the situation is. So those first couple minutes with communications are vital when we're dealing with remote workers or people working by themselves. Even though we have technologies and cameras and everything like to describe what we're seeing and everything, those basic things about communication, about where are you actually, those kind of questions, people get really hicked up on those kind of questions. They don't know how to answer that. So I would always recommend for people to, where am I actually in this mall, the third floor or the northwest section of a place? People have a lot of hard times answering those kind of questions, and even describing things, on a camera photo, describing somebody or a vehicle is really difficult for people that have never done that on the daily basis. Getting that information is super vital, not only starting the engine starting and the officers starting or fire, but getting all those resources that were starting to come online, like cameras and RapidSOS and Flock LPR or drone monitoring technologies. We are just an entire new component of the first minutes of my guys in communications, turning that all on to people, to making sure that officers might be able to get suspect descriptions and get actual real-time information. So those vital bits in the beginning are really, they've always been super important, but even now and more with technology, we have a really good chance of figuring out what the crime is and what actually is happening before my officers even arrive. So communications is the first act of any incident. So it is absolutely vital that both parties speak to each other as clear as possible.
Agreed. And Craig, can you provide us some insight into specific advantages that this partnership brings to your organization? For instance, it can help with customer retention or attracting new customers to your product or service.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, our relationship with RapidSOS is about 15 months old now, and it most certainly has helped us. Not just with customer retention and attracting new clients, but also with our existing clients who historically we've worked with to help them locate and protect globally traveling staff. They're now able to turn to us, and we can have good conversations about how we can help them protect their US domestically based mobile staff as well. So definitely help with retention and attracting new clients and expansion from existing clients. I think with regards to cost savings, I think it's predominantly the client that has achieved our client that has achieved the cost savings by addressing those challenges, those pain points that they had previously in recognizing the need to locate and protect their mobile staff. So back to that point about whether it's kind of meeting and therefore removing any risk of not meeting legislation or brand damage or their insurance costs or whatever. It's the client that has achieved the cost saving there. I think also it's probably fair to say that on the response side, when we triage an alarm from a lone worker, part of our job and part of the partnership with Rapid is to triage that and filter out false alarms and low-level alerts, and so that in turn saves responder time and therefore cost as well.
Thanks, Craig. Again, really excited to have Vismo as a partner in enhancing the process and the steps along the way during a lone worker emergency. Have there been any specific testimonials or feedback regarding how the service is being used?
Oh yeah, without doubt. I get to hear of these, unfortunately, with alarming frequency. It is unfortunate that so many lone workers out there doing a decent job, often in verticals like healthcare provision, how they face very risky situations. One example that springs to mind was a rurally based home healthcare worker whose car broke down. So they weren't at any immediate risk, but they felt vulnerable, and so they were able to use their alerts. We were able to sort of monitor and listen to that and talk to the individual, knowing their location because of the technology partnership with Rapid, and just make them feel comfortable whilst they waited for assistance to come to them.
Great to hear. Alexis, we've covered a little bit here on agencies using RapidSOS. Can you describe how your agency leverages RapidSOS and the impact on your community?
Oh yeah, I mean, Rapid is like a key part of my package, so to speak, for any employee that works in my comm center. Both the video guys and my non-police dispatchers use it. I used it just before I walked in here. So we do not get cell phone calls, 911 cell phone calls to my public safety answering point, my 911 center. They get routed to the city of Columbus, which is the major municipality here. And so I get a huge jump on figuring out what is happening on my campus by monitoring Rapid, because I can see the calls come in on my board immediately. I've dispatched officers in response to major incidents before we even got the call. Sometimes we don't even get the call. The car's on fire. There's a person in the building. If I see 6 or 7 Rapid SOSs go off, I know something's going on. So I still am waiting for a phone call, and I sometimes it's 2 to 3 minutes before I actually get some kind of explanation from a caller there for a call transfer. And we're already on scene, or we're out making sure that our campus community knows that there's a car on fire or there's an event going on or something like that. I've used it also to check our database system for the phone number calling. And I can't get into the specifics of it, but overdoses or some people that have chronic problems, I can immediately tell it's them that are calling. And eventually I'll need to speak with them, and they'll have officers at their door 2 to 3 minutes before they would. And that's a critical piece of 2 to 3 minutes is all a matter of life or death there. So we use it continuously. And if they don't have it up on their computers, they get in trouble by me. So that's how vital that is for our systems here. So
and also just a phenomenal example of video integration that's already happening in comm centers. So I'm really happy to see Vismo and how progressive RapidSOS has been with that video piece of things. We've just seen such a higher level of service by training dispatchers to incorporate that into just daily routine.
Yeah, we have like 6,000 cameras basically here on our campus. And we have active operators of those cameras. So the moment a RapidSOS does, even if I don't get the call transfer, because for whatever reason, we've watched that person the entire time they were on 911. We just do it continuously, and my guys are used to doing that. And that just helps out so much with like, okay, this is actually our emergency. We've been watching them for 4.5 minutes. We know exactly sort of what's going on, and it's on the daily. This isn't a one-off. It's on every day we do this activity. And so my guys are ready for the big actual event because we do it on a continuous. So John is completely correct. The integration of all this stuff together, all these technologies are starting to merge together. Bit of a headache on our world, but
a little overwhelming sometimes. But
yeah, it's a little overwhelming sometimes. That's
and Lieutenant Harushko, I believe you may need to duck out a little bit early. Wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe talk a little bit more about how those tools are instrumental for your efforts in supporting the community.
Yeah, Alex is 100% right. I forget the kind of agency that I work at sometimes because this is my normal, and other agencies may not be as fortunate on this front. The grass is always greener, how you look at it, but I feel very fortunate to have all this technology and people that appreciate it here. The RapidSOS technology is tremendous. Like you said, it makes our response time, we'll beat the medics there sometimes if it's a medical run. We have, gas alarm leaks, we have fire alarms. That's just the medical side of things. But, we have, suicidal people making the phone call, getting it transferred over that his video folks are able to like see the person literally pick up the phone on top of a garage and calling, having those, doubts, and our people are there almost instantly. Like without a doubt, it's life-saving procedures that we do utilizing this technology. Flock LPR is another big one that we use a lot right now. Kind of lets us cast out a big net of LPR cameras across the city that we were able to hook up with other departments across the state and beyond. So, warrants, missing people, people of interest, theft suspects. We've solved so many crimes using just that this past couple of years we've had it. It's been a really big win for us. We have a drone detection program now that has made a little bit of national news, I guess, because we had a drone interrupt one of the football games on Saturday. That was a big talking point. But we were able to, because of it, literally locate the pilot, his return to home location, the flight path of the drone, the altitude, everything, and we're able to make an arrest. These are just a handful of the hundreds of scenarios that we've been through that really technology has helped us really serve the community a lot better, and it's great to have buy-in from our board of trustees and the department that wants to support that.
Surprising the lengths people will go to get in to see a game.
Yes, absolutely. Tickets are expensive. We get it.
Craig, how can other organizations draw inspiration from our partnership, and what advice or insight do you offer there?
Yeah, okay. I think the advice I'd say is to kind of look at what it is that they're trying to achieve from the perspective of all stakeholders. And as I said at the head of the call, for me, a business like ours, we're a B2B provider, so we're kind of looking at it from the buying party, the employer's perspective. We're always looking at it from the end user's perspective. You've got to put yourself in their shoes, consider the risks that they might face, and how you expect them to, what actions you expect them to be able to take. Because depending on that type of risk, they may or may not be able to act as they would when they're not faced with that risk. So, and then looking at it from the 911 and the responders perspective as well, and that's where, for us, we found very significant benefits in focusing on the quality of the packet of data that gets sent through RapidSOS when there is an alert. For us, we focus very heavily on the quality of the location details. Listening to you guys talking about what is clearly a very large campus environment with, I think it was 700 buildings. Knowing the accurate location, and by that I mean kind of within meters, is vital. It's absolutely vital. And then again, for us, we are transmitting audio from an incident that an incident affecting a lone worker might be verbal abuse or physical assault, and so having an audio feed from the situation, and knowing whether it's two people having a strong argument or whether it's two people having a strong argument when one mentions a weapon, this is very helpful information through to the responders, because it will obviously help define the level of response that's required. So that would be my advice, I think.
So a question I'll open to all the panelists. We've already talked about drones, so I know where we're heading, but how do you envision the evolution of emergency response technology over the next decade? What opportunities do we have, and challenges do you foresee? Let's start with Jonah.
So, and I hate to toot our own horn here, but I mean, Alex with the Ohio State University and Alan, I think that's where we're all going. With the advent of NG911, with the nationwide rollout of what's coming out, the expectation of the public is going to be that this video that they can send, these photos they can send, all these tools that are publicly, privately, available on their phones, are incorporated into 911, are incorporated into emergency response. We all know that when people are under duress or when they panic, they are not themselves. They can't convey the information that is essential to telecommunicators, to first responders, so they can get the best response. So any tool that we can use to leverage a better response is going to be what we're going to need to use. And that is going to be video. That is going to be the service that you guys are providing over at Vismo. It's going to be the service that you guys are already providing through your different tools over at OSU. So I think one thing that is of interest to me on the broader scope is making sure our telecommunicators nationwide are ready for that rollout. It's a completely different way of dispatching. I actually did a presentation on this in Baltimore for APCO. Just talking about getting your telecommunicators prepared for the things you're going to see. Alex mentioned earlier, our telecommunicators are seeing people who are calling in who are suicidal, who are literally standing on garage edges. And, I've been there when that's happening, and it takes a different toll on you. So instead of our telecommunicators being behind the 8 ball, now is the chance we have to start retraining, to start telling our telecommunicators what they're going to have to expect getting into this field, so that we're not causing that lapse in proper response as this technology is rolling forward and is becoming more available.
Very good. Alexis, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. I mean, the video, all these technologies are sort of integrating to each other, and they're working together. They may not be like officially tied to each other. So I have a lot of success with LPR technology, license plate readers with video stuff. So my video guys have been doing it for 10 years. They know the campus area very well. They know all the cameras, and they're very eager to help with the police investigations and combining, an 8-hour time frame down to 15 minutes because we use the license plate readers to figure out when the car actually got stolen. Really helps with that piece of component. So that's what the future would be, is integrating all these things together to get a product out to the officers from dispatch. And that is like within the first 5 minutes, maybe, but we're going to have to figure out how exactly we go about that, because I tell all the investigators in my department, my video guys are going to be better at this than you will be for your entire career. They can do a 5-minute thing that takes you hours to do. So integrating all that type of stuff, and just my officers, when we first started with video, didn't even want to hear about it. Now they're demanding. They absolutely, what is on video, and it's
That was
not
quite the change.
yeah, it's not a request. They're putting it out there. But yeah, I know we're finishing up, but the only thing I would really want to stress is the stress component on dispatch staff is a huge thing that we're still trying to work out, because clearly we have to be there for the initial incident. We are very specific on restricting the damage that we can put on our staff. When the incident's over, we stop watching it, we restrict it, we don't let the officers come in and watch it constantly. We had a lot of issues when we got a lot more bigger because the call taker in the corner is just had a traumatic event by itself. They may need to debrief themselves, but they also now just witnessed it. So there's a lot of
more
components.
When you add the video in.
It's a huge thing, and it hits people differently. It doesn't affect me as much, but I have call takers that they can't put those two together. They have to put blinders on if they're talking to somebody like that. It would just be like you watching your call taker on a Ring phone thing in the middle of their living room. It's the exact same thing. So it's the future we're going to, it's the future I want, but it is a lot more care that we're going to have to give to telecommunicators in the future, and all that. And the only other thing is we may have to start asking additional questions to our callers. A little bit more investigatory than we normally would want. What's the time frame if it just occurred? And normally it's just a report, whatever, next call, but we can do an extra bit here. We may just need to have a call taker ask that extra question. I believe that would be an extra thing that we just have to think about for the training of call takers in the new PSAP world. But it's the future. You're not going to be able to fight it or anything like that. So and then the other thing is obviously making correct decisions on where you put cameras. Vendors will give you tons of things and they'll put it where they want it. We've had to work with them and go backwards and go forwards. And we're currently, working with private people to put cameras on their buildings to get them tied in with their own security and our campus security. And so it's been our IT people had to work overtime just to make sure that network of 5,000 cameras is maintained, and we have to reanalyze everything every couple of years to be like, are we actually getting where we want? But yeah, it's
Great,
it's a future I want to be part of. So
great insight. Craig, Jana, Lieutenant Harushko, Alexis, sorry.
Yeah.
Sincerely thank each of you for generously sharing your time with us today. Grateful to have you as part of the RapidSOS community. Thank you once again. If anyone has any questions or wish to connect, feel free to reach out to me, jrose@RapidSOS, or connect with me on LinkedIn. We have more engaging sessions lined up, so be sure to explore them on the WOVA platform. Thank you all for being part of today's session.
appreciate you all.
Wrapping.
Thanks all.